Choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports, passion, fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. SB Talk Sports, Sean Webb, Real Takes of Fake Debates, coming at you live on every platform. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, make sure you guys subscribe and join the RTOFD movement. And also, our membership is live and active. Become a RTOFD member. Perks come with that when you join and you get exclusive access. Sean, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, SB. How you doing?
Oh, chilling, man. We got a lot of breaking news that's happening that's going on. So before we get into all the crazy that's going on, we got the Stephen A. beef. And LeBron is getting crazier. LeBron trolling now. LeBron responding. My Chicago Bulls looking like a real threat. The Patriots made a questionable signing. The Giants made a questionable signing. I'm definitely not surprised at the Giants one for sure. Then we got to talk about the Steelers and what are they doing. And then we also got the AFC West for our off-seasons, wish list, and predictions. But like I said, we got two breaking news stories we got to get into first. So let's go ahead and drop the breaking news out. Breaking news from the RTOFD breaking news. Deion Sanders gets a 5-year $54 million extension with the Colorado Buffaloes. Sean, what was your reaction when you heard this? And also well-deserved by Coach Pratt. So if all y'all said Coach Pratt's going to the league this year, well, it's not happening this year. Well, so what was your reaction to the signing, Sean?
Not surprising. I know he's had a contract extension waiting on his desk for some time. It was just a matter of not if he would sign it, but when. So, not surprising at all. Obviously, what Deion has been able to do these last couple of years at Colorado, coming from Jackson State, bringing the great visibility to the program, but also, building a program, a very competitive program in a Power 5 conference, and as quickly as he has done it, is not surprising at all. I think Colorado understands what they have in Coach Prime and not just as a coach, but as a man and as a mentor to young kids, young men especially. So they wanted to make sure that he was, taken care of appropriately, and this is, how you show him the love, so to speak. So great move for them, and great. And we're gonna be excited to see what he continues to do, over the next, few years, presumably. staying in Colorado.
Colorado. Hopefully he stays at Colorado. For me, I'm not shocked. I think this definitely well deserved, especially for what you saying, what a guy did to a program. Like, let's be real, Colorado, the money that they make it right now, they wasn't doing that. The visibility that they had before Coach Prime came in, they wasn't doing that. I mean, Colorado has a good football history from a long, long time ago, but in recent years, they really hasn't been really relevant when it comes to the football scene. Obviously, before Coach Prime there, they was at the bottom of their conference. Now they in the middle, like they way better now. And Coach Prime is definitely attested to that. And also what you get from Coach Prime, besides the money and the visibility, is that also you got a guy who can teach young men the right way. Coach Prime has been the proponent of like the respect factor and how you're supposed to present yourself and teaching guys how to become a pro. So like a lot of guys that's coming out of Colorado will definitely be prepared for the next level. So now you got the visibility. You got the money coming in. You got the coach actually teaching them the right way. And then you also preparing them to be a pro or just preparing them to be a man in general coming in life. And I think the leadership that Coach Prime brings is outstanding, and he's definitely getting what he deserves. Honestly, you can honestly say for Colorado specifically, Coach Prime probably should get paid more than much he did for that program. Honestly. But no, I'm happy with this signing. Smart decision by Prime. Very smart decision by Colorado. So not shocked at all, Sarah. Next breaking news on the list. I gotta drop the sounder again. Yeah, cause this one kind of shocked me a little bit, Sean. The Memphis Grizzlies fired head coach Taylor Jenkins. What is going on, Sean? It's what, 10 games into the playoffs, 10 games into the playoffs, and you firing your head coach? What is going on?
Well, I think a couple things. I think if you watch the Grizzlies, especially in the last maybe month and a half or so, they've not really played well against some of the better teams in the league, especially. Mm-hmm. I think there were definitely questions about some of the things that they did and he did in terms of some of the in-game management, some of the management some of the rotation management of the rotation, some of the schemes that they ran, particularly offensively. I gotta believe that when you make a move like this at this time, there's a general feeling that this team with this particular head coach and voice is kind of plateaued. They are what they are. Mm-hmm. And whether or not he was the right long-term answer for a team with a Ja Morant and who obviously we know is a superstar level talent, Jaren Jackson Jr., who's an all-star and a consistent DPOY candidate, and Desmond Bane, who's a really good player, and obviously they spent a top 10 pick on Zach Edey, the center. So this is a team that has great expectations. And I think, again, it comes down to SB whether or not they believe fully that he is the long-term answer. People will look at it in a micro level and say, well, they were, this many games above 500 this year. I don't think it's about that. I think they are looking at the total 5+ years, almost 6 years that he was in Memphis, and they're saying we've probably reached our peak with this coach, and they want to get out in front of the market, before everyone else does. And so I know we'll probably talk about some potential guys to take that job, but curious your thoughts on this.
I was definitely confused, highly confused at the end of the day. I know the Grizzlies that I was just looking at, it was like what, they 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they have not been looking good since after All-Star break. But the only thing that concerns me is the timing of it. And it makes me think like it got to be something else going on. That's just how I feel like when you just fire a guy like mid at the end of the season when you 10 games into the playoffs, now you're going to go into the playoffs. That's kind of shocking to me. I would at least start at this point, if it's just him losing the locker room or the team ain't performing, you would at least wait till at the end of the season, just finish out the season if he's not your guy. But I think to just just abruptly just change head coaching when you're like 9 games into the playoffs is like, I think it was a bad decision. So that now from what like people are saying, from what I've been seeing, that there's like, they think he lost the locker room, but I still say it's just like, you can't, I'm sorry, not 9 games into the playoffs. You could at least fire them at All-Star break if that was the case, because now the new coach got to get established or make the rotation. Whoever the assistant is going to be at this time, is he going to pretty much keep the same thing, or are you just going to abruptly change everything that's happened? And then it's like, how can your team adjust and get ready by the playoffs?
I honestly believe, SB, in this particular instance, their rationale was they probably view themselves as, we look at the West, and I'm just to use this year, obviously the West, OKC is running the West. There's probably, but when you look at, say, 2 through like 6, there are a lot of things still being, flushed out. I think sometimes it's, I'm going to use an example here. Sometimes if you want to break up with someone, you rather do it sooner than later, because if you wait and that person cooks you this tremendous meal and it's like, well, I'm going to give you another week after this tremendous meal. Right. Or, it's and so I think for them, again, people are going to look at this season and where they are this season. I don't think it was about just this season. I think it was them looking again at the last 5+ years and saying, hey, we have probably again reached our peak and our crescendo with this particular coach, in the head seat, and we have to make a decision, again about long term. I'm going to compare it to another situation from many years ago, the Chicago Bulls with Doug Collins, that they fired Doug Collins after getting to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, they did.
Right. So they were one of the 4 teams left in the NBA, and they made a move away from Doug Collins. They were looking at, I think, the whole holistic picture of things, but also it was pretty clear he might not be the right long-term coach for this particular team in this particular moment. And they made the right move. They obviously went to Phil Jackson, and the rest is history, as they say. So, Memphis has put themselves in a position where, they're going to get some criticism because everybody's going to look at, what Taylor Jenkins did this year, and the job situation over the last couple of years. But again, I think there have been serious questions for some time about whether or not he was the right long-term fit for that team.
Yeah, it is for me. You gotta also, now he played devil advocate for the coach, acknowledge the fact that majority of the time the Grizzlies was losing, and I looked, the same job was out the lineup, and you got to attest to that too. So you got to look at that too. But obviously, coach gonna always get the blame more than anything. But if your star is in and out the lineup, that's gonna hurt you. And then also the Grizzlies got another big decision that they got to worry about, because if Triple J win Defensive Player of the Year, that massive extension is going to be on the line. So do you trade him? Because if teams don't want to play Luka Doncic, which imagine Triple J is one of the best defenders in the league, but would you pay him that much money? Because that extension is going to make him the highest paid player in the league. And if the Dallas Mavericks, they want to play Luka Doncic, I know you're not paying Triple J. So that's like, this team might not even be looking the same next season too, Sean.
Yeah, and I mean, again, and I think I'm not going to say they're not going to pay Jaren Jackson Jr. I think there's going to be some conversations this offseason. Just because you hit certain qualifiers doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get them. It just means you're eligible to get them.
But if you're eligible for that extension, they don't offer it on the table. I ask for a trade, why wouldn't you? I want the most money.
Well, no. I mean, you can understand wanting the most money, but if you're a team, and again, Memphis, there's guys who have opportunities to sign max contracts who take a little bit less, or don't sign the max deal, or like in the case of say Jalen Brunson signed an extension before he had to and left $100 million on the table. I'm not saying that this is what Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to do. I'm saying that we've seen situations where guys were eligible for the full max or the super max and didn't sign the super max.
Yep.
It's rare because guys, again, love their money.
Yeah.
But also, what is it about long term for the Memphis Grizzlies?
Get that money.
Pay
me.
And also, while it is a different regime organizationally, at one point, you remember Mike Conley was the highest paid player in the league. So is there some sour taste about doing that? And how do they view Jaren Jackson comparative to that Mike Conley situation organizationally? I'm saying I do believe that there's going to be, it's not just going to be an automatic, like, oh yeah, he's eligible for this 5-year max, we're signing. I don't think it's that. I think there's going to be some conversation because, again, some of the questions about Jaren Jackson for me is particularly around rebounding.
You're right. Yep.
I don't think you can be a great defensive big if you don't rebound the basketball. But that's my humble opinion. That said, I think there's going to be some conversations this offseason about what they ultimately do with him. And if they do give him the max, what happens with Desmond Bane?
Yeah, somebody got to go.
Long term. This is going to be a very, very.
They might trade Ja too. You never know. I think it'll be dumb if they trade Ja, but you never know now.
I don't think that's necessarily what they're looking to do. I think they understand the scope of which they have to operate in today's NBA. You can have 2 max guys on your roster, and still be a very competitive roster. But it's how you're able to fill it out around them. If they say, hey, we're going to keep Jaren and we're going to keep Ja, but we got to move Bane because we got to get things, right financially, it wouldn't surprise me if they went that route. I don't think they know healthy Jaren. Those 2 guys are all-stars. Those aren't the guys you want to trade. Bane would probably be the one that I would say that's who they'll probably try to look to move just because of the salary comparative to, what those other 2 guys are and what they make.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. And then, real quick, if you had the name that you think they should play or replace him, I think they should be calling Mike Brown right now. If that'll be one for me. Who you got? If you had to pick a coach on top of the head,
Mike Brown would be the first phone call I would make.
Yeah.
There's some other guys who I think should be in the conversation, but Mike Brown should be, I believe, number one on your list. And the other name is Frank Vogel. Yeah, it's again, I think Frank Vogel got a bad rap for what happened in Phoenix last year, given how Phoenix has played this year. And also, he got really kind of run out of LA, unfortunately, after, leading them to a championship. So, Frank Vogel would probably be another call. But then, Sam Cassell is someone I think should get a call as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a matter of, what are they willing to spend on a head coach and go from there. But, yeah, Mike Brown would be my first call. Absolutely.
Yeah, let us know who you guys think should be the Memphis Grizzlies head coach. But, Sean, we got to go into what has been taking the internet by storm, this LeBron James versus Stephen A. Smith beef. It obviously started from the point of when Stephen A., which we had talked about before on the show, where Stephen A. was saying, LeBron, I'm pleading to you as a father, stop this because Bronny got cooked by Tyrese Maxey, who was like one of the top guards in the league. He be cooking everybody, by the way. Then it came from the point of when he was talking about it. He was talking about LeBron, but had Bronny Lowlights playing in the background. So then LeBron stepped to him. And then, obviously, once LeBron stepped to him, that's been going crazy. Then LeBron goes on the Pat McAfee show and Unfiltered LeBron. I actually liked the interview. It was a good interview, by the way, if y'all haven't got a chance to watch it yet. But it definitely was a good interview. Seeing Unfiltered LeBron is a little different. You can tell LeBron is on the tail end of finna retire because he do not care no more. He don't care no more, dog. He just the LeBron he was at the beginning. He was just chill, facing the league. I'm chilling. The accurate, the hood side of LeBron has came out. But before we get into more of the Stephen A thing, because there's a couple of things that Stephen A had like said, I want to go to like the Pat McAfee interview because he's talked about a lot of things in that interview. So first things first on the list is obviously they got to talk about like how eras is. You know, we all had the era talk. You know, the era back in the day, they wasn't skilled. People look at them, talk about them bad. They wasn't skilled. In the era from back in the day, saying these players are like soft or talk about them certain things. It's been back and forth. And honestly, I can say basketball is the only sport where the errors ish on each other, both back and forth. We don't time to hear. So LeBron has stated on the Pat McAfee that Giannis would score 250 points in a single game if he played in the 1970s. And then obviously, if you've seen the clip, obviously LeBron was like, you know what I'm saying, like being like hysterical with it a little bit, but it was like some truth. It was some truth into it too, because obviously every good joke comes with like the truth. But in the clip, also, I wanted to make sure stay so we get the full context. In the clip, also, he was just pretty much stating the fact of like how people talk about the eras back and forth, thing like that. But did you see what LeBron said, and then what was your reaction to it?
I did see it. Obviously, I think he was being very tongue in cheek with 250 points in a game. First of all, there's no 3-point shot back then, so
y'all just don't shoot threes. They don't work. Y'all just don't shoot threes. He dunked every point. Right. He dunked every point.
And with Giannis all of a sudden become like a 95% free throw shooter in that era. So yeah, it was clearly him being very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I have a kind of firm belief, SB, with anything, greatness often transcends.
Yes.
So if you're really truly great at something, if you were a great actor in the 50s or the 60s, you would find a way to be a great actor in today's age. If you were a great, athlete in that era, you would find a way to be great in today's age and vice versa. So I don't ever discount somebody's ability to play when they are great or do something when they're great at something. But also, when you say the 70s specifically, it was kind of ironic you said the 70s, given that that's kind of the dark age of the NBA.
Yeah.
The dark decade, and I say the dark decade of the NBA because of the ABA, and obviously, it was the league was in transition post Bill Russell Celtics and things of that nature. There's no dynasty in that decade. It's the only decade without a real team that has a dynasty argument. Some great teams from that era, if you don't know, but that said,
Giannis will make a dynasty in there if he dropped Giannis as is.
Yeah, and also we can't. And so here's the other piece too. This is why I would say I think greatness transcends. I can't assume the Giannis we see today would play the exact same way in that era, because again, power forwards in that era were different. It was a very different league. It wasn't, a league where, your first stretch big came from that era in Bob McAdoo, is Giannis that or whatever. So, and then you didn't have power forwards, handling the ball a lot and facilitating your offense. Spencer Haywood, the great Spencer Haywood, talked about, when he got to Seattle and he first grabbed a rebound, or defensive rebound, and he pushed it at the end of the court and dunked, and the crowd booed. Because that wasn't the way you played then, so that's why I don't necessarily like doing that kind of stuff. I think it's not genuine to how things were at that time.
Yeah.
But I do believe greatness finds a way to still be great regardless of era. And so whether he does that or not, who knows? But I do believe, he would still find a way to be a really, really great player in any era.
Yeah, and I think that's what like LeBron was alluding to in the clip of the era. Because like I said, I think it's stupid to do that, and I hate that when both eras like ish on each other a lot. And they, like I said, basketball is the only sport that do it. But it's like because of course, Giannis will probably score 250 points in that era if you drop him in as he is today with the knowledge that he have of today. Of course, anything, bro. You drop me back in the 90s or some era. You know, oh wait, Microsoft not here yet. Apple. I mean, go ahead and invest in these. Of course, anything is gonna be the better version of it because if we in 2025, if the NBA players or the league is not better than what it was in 1970, that is a bad thing. It's evolution. Evolution of the game definitely gonna change. But also, you got to acknowledge the fact of if you put Giannis back in the 70s, Giannis gonna have to deal with the same thing they had to deal with in the 70s. He's gonna learn how to play how they played in the 70s. He's gonna grow up and have all the problems and issues they had in the 70s. If you put somebody Kareem in this era, he get all the advancements and skill that these players in medicine that they have, he'll be different. He'll be a different player. But also, I do agree that great players will find a way to be great no matter what era. And I know LeBron was being, like you said, tongue-in-cheek with it. And people like, the only problem I have with, like I said, not even play devil's advocate, when people say what LeBron said was disrespectful, one, it's not even necessarily disrespectful because y'all do the same thing. He literally did do what the old people do. Because how many times people say, oh, Michael Jordan averaged 50 in this era. Oh, yeah, put Kareem, this person, this era. Y'all literally do the same thing. And like, and it's kind of getting annoying when it comes to basketball because, like you said, you can't compare nothing. Can't compare a 03 Hummer to a 225 Hummer. You can't compare a Dodge Charger today to back in the day. No, everything's different. Everything advanced. Everything gonna get better, and that's all it is. But yeah, I think LeBron just added fuel to the fire just to get like the bunch of the old heads, the old era lovers mad, and there's another reason to hate on LeBron. But nah, I just think we just gotta accept evolution and accept the fact of, hey, the players today are better, which they're supposed to be. But also the people of today need to understand you need to respect the era because they paved the way for a lot of you guys. And also part of paving the way for a lot of guys is the big old contracts that y'all getting, the TV deals that you're getting. There's no game today that's on tape delay. There's no games today that you can watch every game now. You know why? Because the game got big from the era to back in the day. And I think if we keep that line where you praise the new era for being better and evolving, and also you got to respect the people, your forefathers behind you, because they paved the way for y'all to be this good. And that's why also they tell you need to hoop at the All-Star game. But next one, we got to know LeBron throws shades at Brian Windhorst, call him for being weird because I guess he was saying like that he thought Brian Windhorst said LeBron and him was friends. Then also he alluded to the fact that Brian Windhorst said that he only signed with Nike because he's trying to be with Jordan. He went number 23 because of Jordan. And, you know, Brian Windhorst and LeBron has a lot of history. And for Brian Windhorst's credit, he didn't respond in the way Stephen A. responded. He literally said, I give LeBron credit. I appreciate him because without LeBron, Brian Windhorst wouldn't be where he's at. And if you don't understand why I'm telling you guys this, is because Brian Windhorst was one of the first reporters that was pushing LeBron James and telling people about LeBron James. They both went to St. Vincent St. Mary. Brian Windhorst started off as a reporter for the school. Then when LeBron moved up, he moved up with LeBron. So Brian Windhorst was like the first guy telling, hey, bro, this LeBron kid, LeBron the truth, LeBron that. So he's been following LeBron and reporting about LeBron since high school. And when LeBron went to Miami, he went down there too. And then went back to Cleveland. He went to, I think when he went back to Cleveland, he was at ESPN at that point in time. But how do you feel about LeBron throwing shade at Brian Windhorst? Also, like I said, I tip my hat to Brian Windhorst's response. I don't know if you seen Brian.
Yeah, I saw the response.
Yeah, I tip my hat to him. But what's your reaction to LeBron throwing shade at Brian Windhorst?
So that was probably one of my least favorite parts of the whole exchange with him and McAfee. I felt it was unnecessary.
They memed him on his own teammate faces. Is crazy too. Pat McAfee, yeah. I'm dirty for that.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember. So when you come out of journalism school and you go to a newspaper or you go to a television station or wherever, you usually get the least covered beat or assignment or whatever. So Wendy goes to the Akron Beacon Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Akron's not a huge town, if we're being honest,
No,
obviously. And he gets the high school beat.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens he gets the high school beat when Akron has this high school kid who is showing that they're incredibly phenomenal, and it's gonna bring some national attention to it. So he's just it's sometimes it's about alignment and timing of alignment, and he just got to Akron Beacon Journal at the right time. Right. And so he's covering LeBron, and he's someone who's covered LeBron since LeBron was, basically 16 years old. And so you got to think in the 25 years, almost 25 years that he's been covering LeBron, that he's had access to things and that he knows things. And he does to a degree have at least some perspective of the psyche of LeBron. It doesn't mean they have to be the best of friends. Doesn't mean they have to, it's not Ahmad Rashad and Michael Jordan. It's not, it's not anything like that. But it just happens that, he was the one who was working and covering that beat at the time LeBron was in high school, in Akron. I didn't particularly care for the shot because, again, I think Wendy has largely been very
supportive,
very LeBron favorable and supportive in the media. And he even said in his statement when he did speak on it, he said, listen, LeBron doesn't owe me anything. I owe him a lot. He's been a great friend to my hometown and my alma mater that I would stand on. Anything else, I would never say I stand on. And he said, just know I met LeBron James 25 years ago, and my understanding of LeBron and where people stand in his life has been crystal clear. So again, he's never postured himself as LeBron's best friend. He's just someone who's covered LeBron longer than anyone and been around LeBron in that coverage probably more than anyone, going back to when LeBron was in high school, to have some real perspective that not everyone has. And and have some insight into LeBron that not everyone has, who is not trying to I don't want to say trying to get something from LeBron, but who's not necessarily on LeBron's payroll or on LeBron's you know what I mean? So I didn't care for the shot. I thought it was unnecessary. It was kind of petty. And and like you said, LeBron, I think, is in this, IDGAF phase right now. And but I thought that was, I just thought that was too far. I know there's a lot of windy jokes and stuff like that out there, but this guy has largely been really good at his job and really good at providing insider access and insight into situations since being at ESPN. And obviously 2010 and the whole decision in Miami, he was very much on top of a lot of that coverage at the time. He and Chris Broussard in particular, who was on ESPN at the time as well. Alan Hahn, who was at Newsday, was on top of that. So I just thought I thought it was in poor taste. And again, Wendy's largely been very, very LeBron friendly in his media career.
Yes.
And, and so I just thought it was unnecessary, to be honest.
That's the one I was like, it came with poor taste. And also, I'm going to say that Wendy never said, I had never seen it. If y'all have it, please send me the clip, SB Talk Sports, and send it to me. Y'all know my social. Send it to me if he ever said me and LeBron was the best of friends, but I never seen him do that. LeBron, like you said, I think LeBron just on that ID GFK GGAF, Jesus. He's on that type of timing. And I think Wendy just called it straight. But he also added another conspiracy theory he added not another conspiracy theory. He added a conspiracy theory in the air about the NBA draft because obviously this has been going on for a while where people thought, especially in David Stern era, basketball is still a business at the end of the day. People got to remember this. LeBron brought up the fact of how, Derrick Rose goes to Chicago. LeBron James, Cleveland get the number 1 pick. Patrick Ewing with the Knicks. Sometimes the draft day thing just be like, okay, how did this happen? But his exact quote was, it said James appeared on the Pat McAfee show where he hinted the 2003 draft was rigged and the organization would have wanted him to be a part of the Cavs. The 4-time champion said, listen, man, during the ball drop during the lottery, Cleveland get the number 1 pick. I just don't think that was a coincidence, huh? And then he also said, during the live drop, Cleveland get the number 1 pick. Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. I understand the assignment, guys. He added, notable Ohio-born James was selected with the first pick of Cleveland during 2003. So my question is to you, Sean. Have those drafts been rigged? Do you actually believe in it? In what you think about LeBron actually talking about this out loud? Like he's the first NBA player that I think talked about it out loud, or at least the first NBA player that talked about it out loud while still in the league. I just know if David Stern was still GM, he would got fined for this. I ain't gonna. He would probably got fined for it. But
well, I mean, 2 things. One, he would have got called to the office because David Stern was very quick to call a player to New York and say, you need to come see me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Adam Silver. That's not really what he does necessarily. It's not that he hasn't had guys come see him, but he's not the kind of.
For you go to Adam Silver, you have to really mess up for him to call you.
Right? Yeah.
You have to really mess up.
And also, David Stern was very quick to call media members to his office and ring them mercilessly.
Mm-hmm.
Out one day they put out like a real documentary or about David Stern because 30 years for what some of the stuff he did, it was good for the game, but some of it was very.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, David Stern was not
he ruled with an iron fist for sure. Sure.
And that's putting it nicely.
And that's putting it nicely. And that's nicely saying it.
Yeah. So I think, it's easy to. I'm not a big lottery conspiracy theorist. I think it's always a very dangerous thing. Because, again, if you just look at 2003, look at the teams that were picking in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago was picking in the lottery. LeBron wears 23. If the Bulls get the first pick, it's like, well, the high school 23 is going to be the next, 23 is retired in Chicago, but, is he gonna switch and wear 32 now or whatever, or 6 or whatever number he would have chosen, or if he ends up in Miami at 5, it's like, this glamour city, gets this glamour player, and how important this was, because remember, this was pre-Shaq coming to Miami, from the LA trade, and there would have always been something, or if he had gotten to Memphis, because remember, Memphis had the pick, but it was only top 1 protected. So if Memphis ends up getting that number 1 pick, they had just moved from Vancouver, and it's like, they've just moved from Vancouver, and they, really need this, headline. It would have been something. You could have found something with every single team picking in the lottery. So I think when you do this kind of stuff, it's very, very. We already question enough the integrity of the games because of some of the calls and things of that nature. I don't think the NBA was necessarily interested in getting LeBron to a specific city. I think the NBA was interested in LeBron James getting to the NBA because of what the attention in the eyes that he would have brought to the league coming out of high school, with all of the hype surrounding, who he was and how he played and what everybody was projecting him to be.
Right.
Cleveland, Timbuktu, Tupelo, Mississippi, it don't matter. It don't matter. So I didn't like that. And then because again, when people say it was rigged, well, what purpose does the league have to rig getting, Victor Wembanyama to San Antonio? What's his connection to San Antonio?
Greg Popovich, the international players.
Right, yeah, or Tony Parker was French too. He went to San Antonio, so it's like, so you can always make up some sort of narrative about this. And again, this is not me completely dismissing it. I just think it's kind of like, all right,
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, sir. I'm gonna say allegedly because I want to get that, but I 100% agree with what LeBron said. Allegedly, the draft is rigged. Because you look at it, it only happened with these draft sensations. Because think about that point in time, Cleveland was a poverty franchise. They had like a little run in the 90s, but they was dying out. So they needed something. Then the next big superstar is from there, and you want to help that franchise actually stable itself and make more money. Yes, it's NBA. At the end of the day, NBA is a business. Now, what made me really lock in on this, and I'm gonna just be honest, Sean, and that I say, 100% it is it's not the Patrick Ewing one with the frozen envelope. It's not LeBron with the Cleveland, because Cleveland was still trash. It's not even with the Wemby. It's when Derrick Rose got picked to Chicago. We had a 1% chance of getting him, and one of the best players in the draft is from Chicago. And Chicago been needing something for a while, because we have been, all we got is Michael Jordan. We've been dying out. We need something new. We need something fresh. And when Chicago is good, it's good for basketball, because Chicago is a very popular franchise around the world, obviously for a reason. But I'm just saying, we had a 1% chance, Sean. It's no way in hell we should have got the number 1 pick.
But here's the problem with that, SB. And I'm going to use Blake Griffin as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Blake Griffin go to college?
Oklahoma.
Wouldn't it make sense? Because Oklahoma City Thunder had the 3rd pick in that draft. But wouldn't it make sense for him to give OKC the 1st pick so Blake Griffin could have gone to Oklahoma City coming from Oklahoma?
Now LA a bigger market, and the Clippers needed something too.
What I'm saying is again, it's that's the problem with when we do this kind of stuff is it's always going to be a reason why somebody should go somewhere. To say this is specifically why they went there. Again, I don't think, I'm not saying the NBA doesn't care. I want to be very clear in that. I'm saying that what the NBA cares more about is these guys getting to places where there's going to be, or where they can bring some visibility. But whether LeBron or Blake Griffin or Derrick Rose or whatever, wherever they went, those guys were going to bring visibility. Yes, the hometown story for Derrick Rose obviously is a great.
Oh, it made a lot of money off Derrick Rose, trust me.
Right, you know what I mean? But Shaq is from New Jersey. Was born in New Jersey.
Orlando got the pick because they needed something to new franchise. So look, you got it right there. Orlando is stable.
And that's what
expansion team.
That's what I'm saying. So again, but it's like that. It's going to be like that every year. And again, the Bulls, the fact that they got the 1st pick in 2008, 10 years after they won their last championship, like, okay. So yes, we're gonna say, there's 10 years after the last championship, and you got the 1 and the 0. Well, he's got to wear number 1 because number 10 is retired, and so in Chicago, so that's why he wore number 1. And I mean, it's
draft. Give us Cooper Flag. Like, all right, do it again.
So again, Cooper Flag is from Maine, if I remember correctly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's over that way, but yeah.
So so should he go be somewhere on the Northeast since he's from that area?
Go to the Brooklyn Nets or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Or so we can say this every single year. There's going to always be some, this is where they should go. And it's like, no, go where you can bring visibility and hopefully help lead that team to some success. That's it.
Last question, because then we got to move on. If it was the case that the draft be rigged for certain situations, does that hurt the integrity of the league? in your opinion?
I think it hurts the integrity of the league in terms of the league has preferential treatment for certain franchises over others.
Okay. I would say no, because I'm thinking of the business side. Like, okay, you just it'll make more noise if Derrick Rose hopefully be good in Chicago because he's from there. LeBron, Wemby makes more sense with the Spurs. Like the draft sensations. Like I get it. So it doesn't hurt because also you still taking a chance. It's not like, okay, you gave the Lakers the number one pick. Now Cooper Flag comes to Lakers. Now that'd be crazy. It's still like a bottom team getting them. So that's the only thing I'm cool with. That's why I say it won't really hurt the integrity of the league. Because it's like, okay, I'm giving a trash team a potential star player, and it makes more sense, and we might make more money because this kid got attached to this organization or something
Right. And also,
sense, yeah.
And again, here's the thing that I think we don't want to discount. In 2002, 2003, Cleveland did everything in their power to stink.
Yes.
They did everything in their power. So it wasn't like the league was just like, oh, we're going to hand you this. No, they did things within their organization because they intentionally wanted to suck.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the Spurs with Tim Duncan, that's a little more, the league was necessarily trying to push Tim Duncan to San Antonio because at the time, it would have made sense for Tim Duncan to go to Boston because Boston, big market, they had struggled in the 90s post Bird, McHale, and Parrish, and they needed something. So why not push him there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not make sure in 2007 that the Celtics get the first pick in 2007 so they can get Greg Oden or Kevin Durant and save their franchise because their franchise have been struggling, for 15 years. So that's all I'm saying. Like, I think it's when we do this kind of stuff, it's like, it's nice fodder, but at the end of the day, it's kind of pointless, to me. So yeah, I don't particularly care for it.
Okay. Let us know what you guys think, man. Is the draft rigged? Let us know. Let us know. But also, Sean, we got to go to the Stephen A side, and we ain't gotta go like too crazy on this. Bringing like two statements that I really was like, okay, what are you talking about? Okay, let's get the funny one out the way, then the other one is serious. The funny one, obviously, now we got time to go about it because LeBron also was like, oh, Stephen A was saying that he didn't want to talk about it until the video came out. LeBron was like, you probably was the most thirstiest person to see the video come out and everything like that. You wanted to out. I'll be real with you. I'm not mad at Stephen A for milking it because trust me, Sean, if I get into it, LeBron, I'm milking it too. That's attention, that's money. I don't care. But so obviously Stephen A keep talking about it, and he looked at the video, seen LeBron looked at the camera, so I didn't think LeBron planned to record it. Even if he did do it, he tried to send a message out anyway about doing that to Stephen A. But then also everybody was talking about how Stephen A was in like scared and how he's in fear. And then now Stephen A come out and say if LeBron would have touched him, he would have swung on LeBron instantly. What was your reaction to that? And then after your reaction, because I just want to play it again. I know everybody's seen. I'm gonna show you LeBron reaction to it. But what was your reaction to Stephen A saying that?
I laughed. I laughed.
And for the record, he did say he would get beat up, though, by the way. He didn't say he was going to win.
He did say that. I mean, he did say that. Stephen A is being the shock jock he's getting paid $100 million to be. And again, I'm not going to discount what Stephen A is doing in this current age, i.e., the age of manufacturing story.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part of manufacturing story now. And so when you say, when LeBron walked up in his face, LeBron knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
LeBron knew it was going to be caught on camera.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron knew that somebody was more than likely going to catch him enough and read his lips enough to understand what he was saying to Stephen A.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Stephen A do? Because Stephen A, being the Kai Cenat of sports media, who's on from 6 a.m. to midnight every day, he was going to find a way to milk it and to make content out of the situation. Manufacturing the story. We're talking about it. He's manufactured a story. It's been talked about on other platforms, non-sports platforms.
Mm-hmm.
He has manufactured a story out of this. But the way to continue to throw fuel on a dying fire is to say something like, "Oh yeah, if he, I would have swung on him if he touched me."
Yeah, it's a little too late for that, brother.
Right? Yeah, fuel to a dying fire. We're 3 weeks into this mess, and it's still being talked about because Stephen A. is adding fuel to the fire by saying he would have swung on him had LeBron touched him.
Oh yeah, no, but LeBron added fuel to the fire too, because this was by far hilarious, by the way. So obviously LeBron heard that Stephen A was going to swing on him, and then obviously Stephen A got a viral video of him boxing.
Yeah, make it more free. Yeah, push. Clean up
Hey, that's Sean. I said, yeah, LeBron don't care. He trolling for real now. He was like, I'm gonna play your game. And also, another kudos to LeBron. He knew what he was doing from the fact that because now it was the point. I feel like when he said I had to defend my household. When I heard defend my household, I know what that means. That means Savannah done said something and got mad. So that's a wife. You say something, you gotta go handle your business and defend your family. Because they know when the man say I had to defend my household, I know what that means. This Savannah probably came in there. This MF is still talking about my baby. This keep my baby. Why you doing? That's all he had to say. They know LeBron got to go handle his business. But also LeBron said, "Okay, I'm finna use you and take advantage of you because right after this, LeBron announced Steve Nash is gonna be the man of the game." So he said, "Like, I'm finna defend my family honor and I'm finna profit off you too," because he knew because Stephen A is the biggest media guy in sports right now. No matter if you like it or not, or you hate it, or how y'all feel about Stephen A, he's the biggest face in sports media right now. And LeBron knew that was going to get a lot of attention, and he also knew Stephen A was going to milk it. So, this will probably be getting more attention than the basketball recently, honestly, more than the games. But for him to say that like he was going to swing on LeBron, Sean, I'm like, man. You could have had all that energy during because he said, "Oh, LeBron got a situation where I couldn't respond. My contract just got announced." Man, no, don't use no excuse. It's too late. He stepped up to you. You ain't do nothing. Take the L as a man. It's cool because ego and pride would kill a lot of men and have killed a lot of men in this world. And not knowing to take your L and move out the way is another reason why, Sean. The second half of the problem that I have is this. During the second rant, because now Stephen A was in his feelings about LeBron posting that video that you seen. He's like, yeah, I had a torn rotator cuff, man. Nobody trying to hear that. You always be on players when they injured and they can't play good. You don't care, so we don't care. But he falsely accused LeBron of skipping on Kobe Bryant memorial service when Kobe passed. I thought it was 100% distasteful. I thought it was disrespectful to the Bryant family. I thought it was disrespectful to the James family. Because to use somebody's death to question how the integrity of a person or who they is as a guy, I don't like that. And it was sad. And then also, I think just as much as we hold players accountable or critique them, we need to start critiquing media members because how are you the biggest face in sports? Like I just said, he is the biggest face in sports media. Go on TV and utterly say something that could very disrespectful and then factually get it incorrect. Didn't do your research to understand that. When they first ran with this story, said LeBron James wasn't there. Everybody already came out and said LeBron was there. And either why LeBron is reasons, a lot of reasons is going out why people say that LeBron wasn't on camera. You don't know if it was a reason he might have been too emotional, or also it's reasons that said that he didn't want the moment to be about him because it wasn't about him. Kobe just passed. And I commend LeBron for that because some people be like, what you mean LeBron would have said the moment would have been about LeBron? Y'all take anything about LeBron because guaranteed LeBron was there on camera. If he was crying, bawling his tears, y'all have been saying LeBron doing too much just to get camera attention, or LeBron could have doing anything. Y'all would have made something that it wasn't. So I think for him to avoid any BS, he was like, hey, look, I'm just going to be in the back. Don't put me on camera, but I'm here. I'm here supporting the Bryant family. But I wanted to read the exact tweet that Stephen A said, and then I want to hear your reaction, Sean. He was like, Stephen A tweeted, "My apologies and clarification. I misspoke in the first hour of First Take today when I emanated that LeBron James did not attend Kobe Bryant's memorial service. I corrected myself in the second hour when I acknowledged he was indeed in attendance. My mistake. Should not have even broached that subject." And what I had to click more. Let me see what's at the bottom of it. He said, "My mistake. Should not even broach that subject. It was not my main point," which is cap, by the way, because that was the first thing you said. "I retract nothing else I said. Have a nice day." Sean, your reaction to all this?
I've never seen someone get paid so much money to be wrong as many times as he is.
Yeah. We got to start holding him accountable.
But the accountability doesn't necessarily come from the people who give him the platforms. The accountability comes from the people who continue to give this person the attention that they clearly desire.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not a big believer in this whole thing of you work hard so you're successful.
Mm-hmm.
You work hard is one part of it, but somebody has given you an opportunity, and what you do with that opportunity is incumbent upon you, but also incumbent upon them still giving you that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with a dog being a dog. I have a problem when the person who, quote unquote, owns the dog or is responsible for the dog continues to allow the dog to be off the leash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you see consistently at ESPN when they basically allow this guy to say inflammatory things, particularly about Black men, because it somehow makes more especially white conservative men feel like, yeah, that's what we always thought, and yeah, that's what we believed. And so when you allow the Stephen A's and the Jason Whitlocks of the world and others to just get on television and get on these platforms and say the most egregious stuff and the stuff that clearly is not right, and it clearly has nothing to do with their ability to play a sport and play a game, I think that's where the problem comes in. But the other problem, the other side of it, is the audience has to say at some point, "I'm not watching this. I'm not clicking on this." I saw something the other day, SB, and I'm going to give you just to put some perspective on it. If you want to hide something from me, put it in the Tyler Perry movie.
Oh, you ain't never gonna see it.
I will never see it.
Yeah.
And again, for the most part, I don't follow Stephen A. Smith. I don't follow a lot of these folks. The stuff I see is when you or somebody else sends me a clip of something that happens, but I generally don't, because I don't watch it. I understand what it is, and I'd rather not even give it any attention. But obviously, it's going on in the world. It's going on in the world that we work in, especially, and so there is, to a degree, a responsibility for us to at least know what's going on, to have some understanding, so we can, talk about it when we get in this platform. But at the end of the day, what does this have to do with basketball?
Nothing.
The personal stuff is why LeBron got in his face in the first place. The personal stuff. We said it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You criticizing Bronny as a basketball player is fair.
Question LeBron as a father is out of line. That was good.
And again, this is what we keep talking about. What if he didn't go to Kobe's memorial service? Maybe he had reason for not wanting to go. If he didn't go, he was there, but maybe what if he didn't go? That's his business. That has nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah, and then what are you trying to say by saying because he missed Kobe Bryant? What point are you making by bringing that up? That was my problem. Like,
Right.
what was the point of bringing that up?
I think what he was trying to infer is you're not as squeaky clean, or you're not as great, this guy that you think you are, or something like that. And again, I don't want to think for Stephen A. Smith because at this point, I think he's out of his mind, literally. But I also think he's the person that classically thinks he's better than he really is.
Yeah, what's he?
And that's part of the problem. He thinks he's better than he really is. He thinks that because he has this platform, that he somehow is the voice for, millions of people, particularly people who like you and I. And it's like, no, you don't represent us, clearly.
No.
When you start taking your to Fox News, that told me what you were about. Stephen A. wants to be the biggest media personality in the world. That's what he wants. How he does it is inconsequential to you and I.
Yeah.
But that's what he wants. So it's not about being this voice that speaks truth to power. He speaks to money.
Oh, yeah.
He speaks to fame. He speaks to popularity.
Yep. I mean, that's true. You're not wrong about that one. Now you hit it right on the head. I got that. That's it, Sean. You hit it right on the head. Me. Also, Sean, we got breaking news. I got another breaking news sound to drop. Cowboys, the defensive superstar Micah Parsons is reportedly eyeing a historic $200 million contract extension. Parsons is expected to ask for $200 million total and more than $40 million per season on his next contract. Will make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Sean, what's your reaction to this?
Not surprised. When you look at the last two big deals signed by defensive players, particularly those who rush the passer, and Myles Garrett and obviously Max Crosby in Vegas, this is where it was trending. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. He's on the club option because it's his fifth year coming up, and not surprised at all. No. And honestly, he should actually probably, if he really wants to be paid based on the salary cap and where the salary cap is going and projected to go over the next few years. And if you look at just it's basically it's basically looking at the average per year for edge rushers. He would probably need to be making over 15% of the current salary cap, which would actually put him at about $42.8 million a year. So him wanting $200 million a year is not, or $200 million in this next deal. You're talking probably 5 years, $200 million at minimum. It's got to be somewhere above that neighborhood for him to be the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL, given the new deals signed and again where the salary cap is going. So not surprised at all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he ironed that. Only thing I won't be shocked at is if the Cowboys messing this up. And I guarantee the Cowboys find a way to mess this up. Probably try to wait, I'm trying to think. Did they use their franchise tag yet? I wouldn't be surprised. They probably franchise tag him twice before trying to pay him. Something to that extent. And I know the Cowboys going to mess it up some type of way.
Well, they
it's
don't
not
have
going to be like, hey, contract, here you go.
Well, he's under contract for this season, so he's not a free agent. So they don't have to use franchise tag. That would have to be after this coming season if they use the franchise tag, if they don't agree to an extension this offseason. So that remains to be seen. And also, whether or not he attends, many the voluntary camps and OTAs and things of that nature, that will be interesting to see, because those start next month for a lot of teams. So we'll see.
I'm gonna say, do you think he's gonna sit out if he don't get his extension?
I
Possibly.
think it's a very, very strong possibility.
All right. Next up, we gotta talk. Hey, look at this right here. We haven't talked about my team all this year. We finally got something good going on. Josh Giddey sinks a half-court buzzer beater to lift the Bulls over the Lakers in a dramatic 119-117 win. Josh Giddey had a triple-double on the night, plus with the game winner and a clutch steal at the end of the game. Bad turnover, bad pass by LeBron James. Bulls are on a 4-game win streak. Also, by the way, Sean, is this Chicago Bulls team surprisingly got dangerous? It's like the most dangerous team right now because they hot right now. That Josh Giddey and Kobe White combination looking serious. At first, I was mad that we winning games, but now I'm like, okay, now we building something over here. This look nice. This look nice.
Certainly. I mean, this is the time of year that you want to be playing, really, really well. If you're, a team that's in the playoff hunt, obviously the Bulls are because they're in the play-in right now. They're the 9th seed in the East as of today. You like this because again, I think what you're seeing is a team with some young talent. Obviously, Kobe White has been tremendous, really the last couple of years. But this season he's taking his game to another level. Josh Giddey, who people kind of felt was a throw-in the Caruso trade, but he's shown he can play. Buzelis
look like we fleeced them now. When you look at that trade, like fleeced
them.
Well, I mean, straight up trade.
Well, I think it's a win. It was a win-win trade for both sides when you look at it because Oklahoma City has gotten part of what they needed from Caruso. They needed some toughness and defense in their backcourt, and also just a more veteran guy in the backcourt as well. So, but if you're the Bulls and you're a Bulls fan, I think there's certainly some excitement, regardless of how this season ends, based on what's happened the last couple months. The question is can you carry that over into the off season in terms of how you decide you're going to proceed with this roster and making moves to really be a competitive team in the Eastern Conference. Otherwise, it's that what we like to call fake hustle, and so that to me is really going to be the biggest thing. So what is the front office? What is the coaching staff? What is the organization at large going to do this coming off season? So because this is something you really, I think, hopefully try to build on if you're the Bulls.
And I hope we do too. And honestly, Sean, too, no funny stuff. We on pace to do what Ransdorf want us to do, and let's go 41-41. So we doing exactly what he wants also. But I was just happy that we finally made our direction and took it. And we was like, I've been, you heard me. I've been saying this, like you holding on to Zach, holding on to DeMar. Even I was even saying even let Lonzo go, but Lonzo gonna fit right in now with this young core. And Vooch, I was just saying, just let it go, rebuild. When Kobe White showed how good he was playing without like DeMar and them out the way, and then now you got Josh Giddey, who is like the perfect fit for Kobe White because Kobe Knight is not really like a true point guard. He can run the point, but Kobe White is best when he's scoring the ball, and Josh Giddey is best why he had to leave OKC because he wasn't getting an opportunity. And Josh Giddey is best when he's the playmaker. He could rebound. He's like a tall point guard. So and he can score what needed to. And then now you got Montes Buzelis actually finally getting time to play because the kid is actually good. So it was just like I'm happy that our young team is finally they're going with the young core. And that's what I'm happy to see with. Next up, sad news to see Milwaukee Bucks announced Tuesday that Dame Lillard will be out indefinitely to treat deep vein thrombosis in his right calf, pretty much. Blood clots. For anybody know, this is the second player that went down with Wemby earlier. Prayers to Dame. Hope he gets well because blood clots is not no joke. That is something like life or death situations there. But I don't know, man. Sean, what's going on, man? It's two guys in a row the NBA that had this happen.
Yeah, I mean it's not uncommon, unfortunately. Particularly with DVT in the lower legs and things of that nature because of travel and the amount of sitting guys do on planes and things of that nature. You certainly hate that this happened, but I think the most important thing is to be thankful they caught it. They recognized it, and again, anytime something like this happens, I always think back to Chris Bosh. And generally speaking, when they catch it and they recognize that you're going to blood thinners for 6 months or whatever, however long they have to be on them, and guys are generally able to come back. What you hope is that this isn't something that ends up become recurring. Because again, that was the issue with Chris Bosh was, he went out, came back, and then the issue happened again.
Yeah.
And he ended up having to be, rushed to the hospital, and things. And that was basically the end of his career. So, that's the big thing for Dame is that you hope that, this is only, a one-time thing and that, that this is much bigger than basketball. Like you said, SB, this is life. And Dame is a father to young children, and certainly has family and friends that he that support him, and that they are rallied around him, and that he is going to be okay. But obviously, you hate it because especially because Milwaukee was from a basketball perspective was playing pretty well.
Yes.
They were having a really good year, but this is the unfortunate thing that happens, and but you're glad they caught it, and hopefully they're able to treat it, and he'll be able to resume his career soon.
Yeah, prayers to Dame and the Dame family. Gotta go to some football, Sean. New England Patriots are signing wide receiver Stephon Diggs, 3 years, $65 million with $26 million guaranteed. We was all wondering what Diggs was going to go. He's coming off an ACL injury from last season, which he was having a good year with the Texans until he got hurt. The only problem that I have with this signing, Sean, which it don't make sense for me for the Patriots, it makes sense for Diggs. Obviously going to get the money there. But earlier during the offseason, it was reports that came out that the Patriots didn't want a vet or a needy receiver or diva receiver to ruin the confidence of their rookie quarterback. Well, not going to be a rookie this year. It's going to be next season. And then you go sign the biggest alleged diva at wide receiver. So somebody lying, Sean. What's going on?
I mean, the wide receiver position for them was probably the weakest point of their team. I'm going to say skill positions in general, but definitely, an issue for them. I will say, I know we're looking at Stephon Diggs from Minnesota and Buffalo, but I want to look at what he did in Houston last year. I thought he was, for the most part, pretty much on, his best behavior in terms of not complaining about, getting the football, understanding that he's platooning with Tank Dell and with obviously Nico Collins and some of the other young guys. If they're getting that Stephon Diggs, that's okay. Well, listen, you're not going to get 200 targets a year. You're not going to get 111, 112 catches a season. If they're getting that guy, okay, but that remains to be seen. I think this was just a faction of the guy they really wanted never got to hit the open market because I really think they wanted T. Higgins. And because he was never available, they had to pivot, and this was the pivot. But we'll see how it plays out. I think they like Drake May a lot, but we'll see how it plays out and how he and Drake May develop their relationship and their chemistry over, next season. Once Stephon Diggs is healthy, because that's the other piece too. He's got to get healthy, obviously, after the ACL.
It's gonna be hard to play Stephon Diggs while he ain't getting the ball when you look at the other receivers on the Patriots, but we will see. But if you have to grade the signing, what you grading it?
B.
Yeah.
B. It doesn't move the needle for me with the Patriots in the AFC East, not really. But it's obviously he's better than anything they had.
Yeah, I would have hoped that they would have went more young. For me, that's what I was going for receiver. But if you got a chance to get Stephon Diggs, you take him. But
Yeah, and I don't think this precludes them from taking a receiver early in the draft either.
I think they still should. Yeah.
Yeah, either day one or day two. I think they'll look to take a receiver.
Or go get Travis Hunter. The next signing, New York Giants are signing free agent quarterback Russell Wilson, Mr. Danger, for 1 year worth $21 million. I believe 10 of it is guaranteed. 10 million of it is guaranteed. Sources told ESPN Adam Schefter. Russell, Mr. Danger, and Sierra's going to the Big Apple. What's your reaction to this sign after they already signed Jameis Winston too? So I don't know if they still drafting the quarterback, because there's 2 quarterbacks on the list. Yeah, man, I wish they was on what's it, Hard Knocks. I wish I got the Office video clip of this. Man, I want to see how this conversation went. Yeah, let's go get Russell Wilson. But ever since that Saquon Barkley video, nobody wanted to do it. They got exposed. They don't. It's just like the Giants to ruin Hard Knocks. But all jokes aside, what do you think about this signing? How you grade it?
C at best, and that's me being nice.
Oh.
I don't. I don't like the signing. If you said, "Hey, we're bringing him in and he's going to be our starter," I don't think you guarantee Russell Wilson anything at this point.
Mm-mm.
This is his 3rd team in 3 years. Clearly, things did not end well in Denver for a reason, and there was a reason why Pittsburgh was not in a rush to bring him back after last season. So if you're the Giants, I'm not guaranteeing Russell Wilson jack.
I wouldn't guarantee you.
And as I stated earlier with the Patriots, I don't think this precludes the Giants from taking a quarterback at 3 if a quarterback they like is available at the 3rd pick. My big thing is if they take Shedeur Sanders, for example, at 3, which again I think is very much on the table. Possible. You have an open quarterback competition.
Yep.
And every single quarterback, including Tommy DeVito, gets to compete for the starting quarterback job. So you got to make somebody win it. There's no, you're our starter. We just guarantee. No, I don't care who you. I mean, and again, it's not a slight to Russell Wilson, but like this is supposed to be. I'm not talking about the name. I'm talking about the game.
The game.
So, no, I'm not guaranteeing you jack. Come win the job. But also, I realize what the Giants are doing. The Giants and people like, what are the Giants doing? This starts with the ownership. The ownership should have cleaned house at the end of the season.
Yep.
Moved on from Dayball. Moved on from Joe Shane, the GM, and said, "Hey, we're bringing in a new regime, and they will decide what they want to do with the quarterback position." When you brought them back and basically put them on the clock, you make these moves like this, like signing Russell Wilson, who again, how many teams were fighting to get Russell Wilson in free agency?
2. Yep. And now it really questioned it at 2, really. I think he was fighting to talk to them more than anything. Right. But we'll say 2.
And the team he left, or the team that he was on last year, doesn't have a starter on their roster right now. So why didn't they fight hard to bring him back? There's a reason why.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, again, I think it's people get wrapped up in the name. I don't care about the name. Watch the tape.
And Sean, for me with this signing, that's what this is another head scratching move for me with the Giants, because you already signed famous Jameis. What's the point of getting? So that means you're not drafting a quarterback. So and then if you go draft a quarterback, now you got 3 people on the roster. Like, okay, so now is James? You just paid Jameis to be a 3rd string guy? Come on.
Again, if you're saying, hey, we're signing these quarterbacks and we're going to have an open quarterback competition, I would get. But if you're saying, hey, we sign these quarterbacks, but this guy's going to be our starter, I think you're making a horrible decision if you're the Giants. And again, I still believe Shedeur Sanders is in play at 3 for them, presuming Cam Ward, goes in the top 1 or 2, which I think we have to believe that's probably going to happen at this point. But again, for me, if I'm the Giants, I just don't see. There's no long term here. There's no long term here. There's no, Russell Wilson can have a great season. Like, oh yeah, we're definitely keeping Russell Wilson for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
there's none of that here. So it's just, to me, these are guys trying to save their jobs. This is what it sounds like. And if you think Russell Wilson's going to save your job in that division, because let's also be clear, you got the defending Super Bowl champs in that division. You also got another team in that division that was in the NFC Championship game. And then you had the Cowboys.
Yeah, so it ain't.
So you think naming this guy your starter in that division is going to move the needle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm a Giants fan, and I know a couple, one of my best friends is a Giants fan, frustrated. That's how I feel.
I'll be sick. I'll be sick. I'm not gonna hold you. Sean, we got another breaking news story again. What's going on? The news is just breaking while the show is going on. Charlotte Hornets star LaMelo Ball will miss the rest of the season as he undergoes 2 minor procedures to address his ankle and wrist issues. What's your reaction to this?
It's not surprising. He's dealt with ankle injuries in particular over the recent years.
Puma got to lock in or something.
Yeah, he's missed 25 games in each of the past 3 seasons. Really, since playing 75 games in 21 and 22. I think if you're Charlotte, this makes sense. You're not a playoff team. Obviously, you're not even really in the play-in conversation in the East. Shut them down, get them, let them get the procedures done, and try to get them, see if you can get healthy, going into the summer before you, have to get back for training camp. And also, again, if you're Charlotte, your focus at this point should be, kind of developing, seeing what you can develop the last month of the season with this roster, but also, to be frank, get ready for the NBA draft lottery and see where, things go for you there. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just more of a we know we don't got nothing going for us this season. Let's just shut down our star for these minor injuries become major. That's it. And then, like I said, I think Melo and his team is going to definitely have to address at least the ankle issues for me. Like, or I would even call up Steph. Steph Curry had another player with ankle injuries, real bad problems with the ankles. I hit up Steph. Hey, man, Steph, look, consistently I problems with my ankles. What you do? What about those ankle braces that you got? I go see who Steph Curry specialist is on that ankle for the ankles perspective, though, for sure. I would definitely go see that. Next up, Sean, because we're talking about Russell Wilson going there, but what are the Steelers doing? They still don't have a starting quarterback. What is the Steelers doing? Russell Wilson's gone now. Famous James is gone now. You're not picking in like the top 3. So what is the Steelers doing? What are they waiting for?
I think they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, which could be a bit of a mistake, but that remains to be seen. But also, I think they're going to weigh their options in terms of they're picking at 21 in the draft. Whether it be worth trying to trade up, and depending on, what happens with Shador, I think it's going to be a real conversation for them if, say, Shador gets past Cleveland and obviously the Giants. Do you call New England? Do you call Jacksonville? Because I think you really do need to jump up at least there. And then kind of the sleeper team is to watch at 9 for them, with the Saints picking at 9. Yep. If the Saints aren't sold on, Shador, could they, work out a deal? Again, you'll have to give up as much to move from 21 to 9 as you would from 21 to 4 or 21 to 5. But, so I think that's kind of what the Steelers are doing right now. This is very non-Steeler-like, though.
Yes.
They generally are a team that, says, hey, are you in or you in or you're out?
Yeah,
You
pretty
know,
much.
and Mike Tomlin famously says, "No hostages, only volunteers." So, them waiting this long to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to volunteer is a little perplexing, but okay.
And then next to it, so where is Aaron Rodgers going? We talking about Aaron Rodgers. Where is Aaron Rodgers going now? And then what's taking him so long to make a decision? If you really got that many job offers, should you just jump on the job if the Steelers want you? Because now I'm starting to feel like Aaron Rodgers might retire. Because ain't no way he has it. If the Steelers talk to him and want him and waiting on him, that means Aaron Rodgers is making the decision. I think, man, that last little run with the Jets might have killed Aaron Rodgers' ego.
I think two things. One, you understand there's a depressed market at your position. And again, you're also in a market where the draft isn't great at your position. So, you can take time, and if they're saying, hey, man, take your time, and, my belief is either Steelers or home. I don't see him going anywhere else, but, and I think, again, this is probably worse for the Steelers than it is Aaron Rodgers. Because, again, if Aaron Rodgers decides, hey, I want to, play, he's going to sign somewhere.
Right.
It's just obviously we look around the league, we think most of these teams some of these teams anyway have starting quarterbacks. So, where he could go. But that said, I just think it's either Steelers or home for him.
Steelers. I think it's either Steelers or home for him too. Because I just feel like at this point, what you waiting on?
Yeah.
All right, Sean. Real quick, we got to run through our NFL offseason wish list and predictions. We got the AFC West edition. Sean, Denver Broncos up. What you doing? What's your three moves?
Denver Broncos. So they have a little over $17 million in cap space. Their team needs are running back, wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, and tight end. So really seems to be a great deal of focus on the skill positions in particular on the offensive side of the ball. But the first thing for them is I'm upgrading the running back room. And I'm going to call Atlanta about Tyler Algier.
Okay.
I think Tyler Algier is a number one running back in the NFL. Obviously, in Atlanta, he's playing with Bijan Robinson. And if you're the Falcons and you can get some draft capital for Tyler Algier, given your cap situation, but also Bijan's your number one guy. We're not going to fool ourselves otherwise. Call Atlanta about Tyler Algier and take a running back on day 2 or 3 of the draft. So you get possibly like Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Travion Henderson from Ohio State. Those guys should be available on day 2 of the draft at minimum, maybe even day 3, depending on just how draft boards fall out fall based on the draft picks. So that'd be the first thing. Second thing is get a developmental left tackle in this draft. Jack Nelson from Wisconsin, again, day 3 guy, played a lot of snaps, really solid, could be a really good developmental left tackle in this draft. Garrett Bowles is 33 years old, and you got a young quarterback. You got to make sure you got that blind side, set for them, sooner than later. So you definitely want to get a developmental prospect and learn behind Garrett Bowles as he gets older. And then the third thing is draft a long-term tight end. I know they signed Evan Ingram in free agency. Solid addition, really solid addition, but again, not a long-term thing. You need a long-term safety blanket. But I think about a guy like Gunnar Helm from Texas, tight end from Texas, again, could be there, late day 2, early day 3 potentially. But he'd be someone I would consider, as well. And also depending on, again, how the first round goes, if Tyler Warren from Penn State starts to slip, I don't know if he's going to slip past the Colts at 14. But if he does start to slip, maybe you trade up for him. Colston Loveland from Michigan would be the other tight end to consider in the first round. But they do need to draft a long-term tight end in this draft. So those are my 3 moves for the Denver Broncos.
I definitely had the Broncos. First of all, any team but outside the Chargers, I want y'all to do nothing. I want y'all to just don't do nothing this offseason. Don't change nothing at all. But with the Denver pick, what was they picking in the first round? Yes, I got them taking the guy from Michigan, Coach Loveland at tight end in the first round. But also, I think you do have – I agree with you when it comes to getting a running back. I wouldn't trade, though. I would actually go into free agency, and you still 2 solid vet running backs that's available. You can go with the J.K. Dobbins. And I'm still surprised Nick Chubb is not signed yet. I don't know what's going on with Nick Chubb. But I think a solid veteran back who doesn't have to come in and do too much, just does a good enough job to make Bo Nick's job in life a lot easier. So I would go sign J.K. Dobbins or Nick Chubbs as my running back. And I think that's the only thing I really have for them because I don't want them to do nothing. But that's all I really had boosted up for them. But I definitely think they should go get Nick. I don't understand how Nick Chubb is still not signed yet. Did he get injured again last year? What am I missing?
No, it was just, he was.
Is he asking for too much money?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's this is a very deep running back draft. And so again,
it is a young man's position, not gonna lie.
And Chubb is 29, he'll be 30 this year, later this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where things, play out. Again, I think he's someone who will probably sign somewhere after the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But just depending on, again, if a team misses out on, who they want or who they're looking for. But he's about to turn 30, and so that's usually
it's named as a running back.
Yeah. So I think that's why he's not signed.
Okay. Next up on the list, my Chargers. What we doing, Sean?
No, I was on Kansas City. Okay. All right.
Oh no. Oh yeah, I'm tripping. I'm sorry. No, you're right. I was a little thirsty. I pulled the trigger. I hit Kansas City. I'm sorry. Kansas City Chiefs. It's simple for what they need to do to me.
So obviously coming off the loss in the Super Bowl, a lot of people are gonna be very reactive about what the Chiefs should do.
Mm-hmm.
They have about $15.7 million in cap space. As of this recording. And their team needs a defensive tackle, offensive guard, edge, offensive tackle, safety, and tight end. So the first thing they need to do is extend Trey Smith. They franchise tagged him. Again, he would have been the highest paid guard if he had hit the free agent market. But he and Creed Humphrey at your center and right guard, those guys are your 2 long-term building blocks on this offensive line. Go ahead and get him extended. I think, when they tag, they usually tag to extend at some point. But they do need to get him extended before the July 15th deadline because after that, he can't sign an extension. He had to play on the tag this year. So get him extended. And then the second thing is draft the trenches, right? You got to draft the trenches. They need to draft at least 2 offensive linemen, 1 interior, 1 tackle. They did sign a tackle in free agency, a left tackle in free agency, but you need to make sure you got that left guard position, shore it up. Again, there's some guys that I think will be, available in this draft. When you just look at, where they're drafted, they have the 31st pick in the first round, obviously, but just from an offensive guard, I don't think Tyler Booker will be there for them. I think he'll probably be gone by the time they pick in the first round. But, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State would be someone to consider. Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. Maybe in the second round. They do have 2 second round, they'd have 4 picks in the top 100. So they do have the opportunity to add some day one starters kind of early in this draft. So again, we'll see where they go. Tate Ratledge from Georgia's another one. Dylan Fairchild from Georgia's another one. So, again, make sure you get that left guard position shored up. And also, again, a developmental tackle, presumably someone who can play on the right side because, again, Jawan Taylor, this should probably be his last year in the Kansas City Chiefs uniform.
Yes. No, you got to go. Yeah. Actually, keep him for me, please.
Yeah. And then also, 2 defensive linemen. to me, they really need to shore up, the interior of the defensive line next to Chris Jones, and also add another, kind of dominant potential long-term edge rusher on the other side of Karlaftis. So I again, shore up the trenches. For me, that's a big thing. And the third thing is prepare for life post Travis Kelce. Take Elijah Arroyo, tight end from Miami, 6'5", 250, really good, fluid athlete. Kind of has some Travis Kelce traits.
Nice.
Again, guy will probably be there late third, early fourth round, maybe, depending again on how some of these boards fall. But you got to prepare for life post Travis Kelce. When you start thinking about retirement, it means you're probably much closer to it, and you got to believe this is probably going to be Travis Kelce's last year in the NFL. So, get ready for life post Travis Kelce.
For me, Sean, first thing first I'm doing is try to use one of these picks to get more picks, because obviously the Chiefs got, and I'm looking at it again, so I make sure I got it right number down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll try to at least get maybe trade back with one of them third round picks, maybe, and get another fourth and a fifth just to add some more people on your team. And I do agree with you too that my first 2 to maybe 3 picks going to be all trenches. The offensive line was definitely terrible last year. You can go Marcus Imbo from Purdue. You can go. I had my tackle list up here right here. Hold on. Boom. You can either go. I don't know if Will Campbell going to be there, but best available tackle, you need to go buff that lineup. And I know with the tight end was a concern. I actually disagree from the tight end, because I think that it's time to push Noah Gray as your starter and push him as the next guy to replace Travis Kelce. Looking at him last year, he's actually pretty good. I think you need to give him more opportunities and then use Travis Kelce this season in situationals, because obviously he wasn't good as he's supposed to have been last year. And then also get a vet receiver. It probably won't cost you that much to see what Amari Cooper want. I'll probably go get Amari Cooper. And anything else later that I said draft any skill position late. And I think if he slipped, I say get him late, 4th, 5th round. Isaiah Bond out of Texas, another speedy guy. But if not, you don't want to go there if you want to get a big guy. I think he might slip 3rd, 4th round, maybe.
Yeah, I hope they don't take Isaiah Bond, because they literally have that type of player already on their team. I think they need a bigger receiver at this point, but that's just me.
And then I'm glad you said it, because the 2 big receivers that I did have on their list, but I don't know if Jaden Higgins, depending on how low they try and take a skill position at, obviously go Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, or you can go Savon Williams from TCU. 2 big 6'4" receivers where you can fit in, but I do agree they need a bigger guy. So that's why I was saying maybe go Amari Cooper, be a vet receiver, don't cost you that much, and he's still not on the team yet. So that's why I would go, especially after losing D-Hop. The Raiders should be next, right? So the Raiders, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Another team that I don't want them to do nothing. Don't do nothing. Please don't. What you got for the Raiders, Sean?
So the Raiders, they have about $51 million in cap space as of today. Their team needs are cornerback, running back, wide receiver, safety, and defensive tackle. So the first thing I have for them is they need to resolve the Geno Smith extension sooner than later. I think it will get resolved. I think from what I've understood, the only issues around that are just some of the guarantees. But Geno Smith has put them in the position where they feel they want to try to be competitive and win now. So get them locked up, get that done, get that out of the way. The second thing I have for them is draft a cornerback and a defensive tackle in the first 2 rounds, regardless of order. So if at 6, if Will Johnson is on the board at 6 or Travis Hunter is on the board at 6, take him. If you think there's a guy in the 2nd round that you like and you want to take, say, Mason Graham from Michigan, to put next to Christian Wilkins, that's certainly something to consider. But they were not good defensively last year, and a lot of it had to do with they weren't very stout up the middle outside of Christian Wilkins, and also their secondary, their corners in particular, just they don't scare anyone. So that would be my thing for them. And then the third thing is really simple. They need to add playmakers to the running back and the wide receiver room. They are very much bereft of talent in those two rooms. And again, Brock Bowers had an amazing rookie season, partly because he was really the only real threat they had offensively outside of Jacoby Myers. I'm not going to disrespect Jacoby Myers, but they need to add some receivers and some running backs to those rooms respectively. Pete Carroll wants to run the football, so you got to think they're going to be very much high on prioritizing the running back position in this draft. Again, Genty, I don't think is going to be the pick for them at 6. I would think they would probably look in the second round or even the third round. Again, a Caleb Johnson, someone of that nature, potentially as to add to the running back room.
All right, for me, obviously, you got Geno Smith. You do need a receiver, and I believe he's still available. When I wrote this down, he was. Get the receiver that he used to having. Go get Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is, last time I checked, let me make sure from the recording. When I wrote this down, he was.
He's still available.
Tyler Lockett's still available. Yeah. I go get the receiver that he's come with already. Probably not going to cost you that much. He's still right there waiting. I'll go get Tyler Lockett. The next thing for that draft with that 6th pick, I wrote, do not take Ash Agency that high. I said, do not take it. But I did say, find a way, and whatever it costs, trade up and get Abdul Carter. I think, like you said, the secondary definitely brought up it's not been good. But what's one thing that you could do to help that secondary is get to that quarterback. So you obviously just extended Max Crosby, add another guy on that other side, and be a quarterback's worst nightmare on that side of the ball. And then also, I do agree because you got Pete Carroll. Find your 2 running back system. So if you go get J.K. Dobbins, I had him to look at the running backs. If you go get J.K. Dobbins, who's a little small, speedy guy, I said you should either go get Ollie Gordon with a later pick, or you could get Donovan Edwards from Michigan to get that speed, that power combination with them. So I would definitely sign a vet and draft a rookie at running back because Pete Carroll likes to run the ball. And that's what I'm doing if I'm the Raiders. Unfortunately, I hope they don't do none of that because if they was to do that, they will be a problem.
Yeah, so my only pushback is, they drafted Tyree Wilson a couple years ago as a defensive end, very high in the draft. I don't think they're ready to give up on him necessarily. Again, the big issue to me was Christian Wilkins is a monster. He's a beast. But you got to put somebody next to him so it allows your edge rushers, but also, those guys playing behind them to, do what they do. I just think, they're not necessarily ready to give up on Tyree Wilson just yet.
I'm fine with that, but I'm sorry if you picking up that high, you gotta get the splash of that. And this guy is like you can't miss on it. I'm if any way, shape, or form, I'm trying to get Abdul Carter, and we gonna figure it out. But no, but I understand that. But he there, and I just don't think if you trade up. Is Trav going to be there? I don't know, because now I know you're not taking a quarterback. So if I'm in the Raiders, there's only 2 people that's really on my mind. It's Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, because you got Geno, and Geno's going to start. You're not going to take a quarterback that high and sit him if you got Geno. And then Pete Carroll is a guy who probably want a vet quarterback anyway. And you want to ground and pound the ball and get after that quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. So last but not least on the list, my LA Chargers, Sean. What you doing for the Chargers? We got a lot of picks, by the way.
Yeah, Chargers have about $31 million in cap space. Their team needs our defensive tackle, tight end, wide receiver, cornerback, and center. Excuse me. First thing Chargers need to really do is upgrade the interior of the defensive line.
Yes.
Upgrade the interior of the defensive line. That, again, when you think about Jim Harbaugh and his focus on defense in particular, upgrade the interior of the defensive line. I'm looking at that 22nd pick. I think Derek Harmon from Oregon would be, an ideal player there. Again, you got to upgrade the interior of that defensive line. Can't take that away. And then, in keeping with focusing on the defensive line, you got to find your next edge rushers. Khalil Mack is back on a 1-year deal, but again, Khalil Mack is getting up there, and obviously Bosa's gone. Can you find, another great edge rusher potentially in this draft? Again, I don't think necessarily it will be in the first round unless, one of those top edge rushers slips like Mikael Williams or James Pierce or Shamar Stewart. But can you find a great edge rusher? And continue to add to the running back and wide receiver rooms. Again, I don't think there's a number one guy in this draft that you would say, oh, yeah, that guy's a number one receiver coming out, maybe outside of, again, Tatura McMillan from Arizona. Everybody else is either a slot guy or, a guy that's, again, can play in a platoon, but I'm not saying that guy's definitively a number one guy. But you got to continue to add talent there. And the third thing, and this is strictly for Justin Herbert, trade a 5th-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for Dallas Goedert. Get a vet tight end in the room for Justin Herbert. Philly's interested in moving him because of his salary and where they have some cap allocations and things. I think a 5th-round pick for Dallas Goedert is pretty fair on both sides. Make the move for Dallas Goedert to help Justin Herbert. And those are my 3 moves.
Oh, wait a minute. I would say, yeah. One of my moves did happen when we was talking about this. We talk about tight ends. Tyler Conklin, he signed with the Chargers for 1 year. So we already got the tight end there. I had to make sure again for, what was it, $4.5 million. Yep. So with that, we said we got the vet. My thing is with the Chargers, we need a receiver. We definitely need a receiver. Do not draft a receiver with your top picks. I think we get a receiver late, and a couple of receivers I had on my list that I like personally. You could go get a Jimmy Horn Jr. You could go get a Torrey Holden from Colorado, the Xavier guy, or even Taz Johnson from Oregon, which is like familiar from what Justin Herbert is from, so kind of familiar with the system and type of style that they ran during that time. But the main thing is we got to retool this defense. At the end of the day, the defense looked bad last year. We just lost Joey Bosa. And like you said, you try to get one of them edge guys, and if one of them even slip or get close to around to get, I say get them. The main 2 that I want is one of the 2 guys from Georgia, either Mikael Williams or Jalen Walker, but I highly doubt Walker is going to be down that low. Michael could possibly slip. I want one of the Georgia guys. At the end of the day, Eagles just won a championship with a lot of Georgia people on their line. Our coach like defense. I think we need to add more Georgia people to the Chargers defense, and we need to retool that. And then the next best thing that we need to do is retool the offensive line. And I'm definitely going in the draft. So my top 3 picks got to be in the trenches. Defense, offense, anything skill-wise, I do not want them picking until the 3rd or 4th round. Don't wait. Don't get me wrong. It's some good receivers in this draft. It's a solid tight end in this draft also too. But it's nothing that's eye-popping to the point of from where we picking is worth getting at that point in time. Go trenches. You can find a good skill person later in the draft. I've seen a lot of good wide receivers, a lot of good tight ends found late in the 5th round. And sometimes you need to go in a great situation. And I understand our coach was from Michigan, so I understand like people want to go get Loveland. No, he probably going to end up going somewhere else. So that's the only thing I'll do with the Chargers because we need to retool the offensive line. That last year, that was kind of like a problem. I know we need a receiver, but it's nothing really there that's eye-popping to me. So that's what I'm doing if I'm the Chargers. Now, Sean, Episode 5-3. What you got?
I'm gonna go Harry Carson. Harry Carson from the Giants.
Harry Carson's from the Giants. Let me see 53. I didn't look up a player. Players. Where 5-3. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Yeah. We got NBA. Let's see what NBA wise first players who were 53. Oh, Darryl Dawkins were 53.
Yes, Chocolate Thunder.
Chocolate Thunder. Oh, yeah, I gotta show Chocolate Thunder love. One of the coldest nicknames of basketball, by the way. History. And also, I'm gonna show love to I should know this one off top of the head. Big Artist Gilmore, 53 too. Artist Gilmore and Chocolate Thunder. That's what I'm definitely gonna show love to on that one. Yeah, man. We did a great episode. Real Takes Over Fake Debates. SB and Sean Webb, and we will see you guys on the next one. We'll see you Monday. Peace out.